And we're live. Happy Monday. Another one rolls around and here we are. I am chasing my tail a bit this morning. I chose to have a coffee with a girlfriend instead of race back and do a Facebook Live. So, am I feeling guilty? No. Sorry for all of you that tune in at 9:30, but God, I just needed to download and have a sounding board. So it was such a nice start to the morning. But I'm here. A lady at school this morning, I always comment on how I'm looking, which is not great, but a lady at school commented on my scarf this morning and said, "Oh, it looks like you're wearing a dog." Thanks. Not quite sure how to take that. So hopefully you're not offended by my dog scarf. Some people, hey. So I thought today we might talk about risk. Not the board game, no, about taking educated risks or just taking any risks in your business. It's coming up quite a bit for my clients at the moment, who some of them are really pushing the boundaries on how to grow their businesses and how to unlock that potential or how to upscale to that next level. And that is all anchored in risk and what level of risk they're comfortable in taking. Now, taking risks, and even the words taking risks, are scary and bloody uncomfortable for a lot of people, because as humans, we just all naturally like to play it safe. And I am the biggest advocate in the world for this, because risk taking has been extremely important to my business growth, but also extremely uncomfortable for me. So I like to wrap myself in my safety blanket, and I walk around all day with this big doona around me that's comfortable, it's warm, it keeps me protected from the outside world, and it is quite literally my safety blanket. And the more I ponder my life and my career and what I'm going to do with myself when I grow up, when I become an adult, the more I'm realizing the more risks I need to take and the more uncomfortable I need to get, because as the saying goes, that's where the magic happens. And I'm pretty bloody ready for some more magic, to be honest. So today, get uncomfortable and have a better think about how we take risks, or how you're taking risks in your business, but also in your life. Now, obviously risk taking is inherent with small businesses. The reason you're in business in the first place was a risk. You might have quit your day job, or you've started a side hustle or a passion project or whatever it might be. But that within itself was obviously a risk. And, it's probably a small risk. But we do all naturally take risks when it comes to small business. And they don't have to be jump off a cliff, take out a $1 million business loan, all that sort of stuff. It doesn't have to be those extreme risks, but you might not even realize that you are already taking some risks in your business, which is not a bad thing either. So there are different types of risks, and that's something for us to consider and to work through as well, is that, to succeed and to be differentiated in the marketplace, you don't need to put yourself out there in a way that's completely unauthentic to who you are, or that makes you feel ridiculously uncomfortable. But there are different elements of risks. There's obviously financial risks in your business, quitting your day job, you've got no income, so how do you fill that gap or that void in your business? There's time risks around time management and the likes, prioritizing work over your family and how you'll fit it all in around your kids or around, life and all the other things that you've got going on, and all the other 27,000 types of risks. So I bundle it all into the one topic, but at the end of the day, it's really important for us to get uncomfortable and to push ourselves out of that comfort zone, to find a little bit of that magic. And it's not necessarily going to be groundbreaking magic, but just to be able to propel and to build some momentum and push you forward. Sometimes it's a little bit uncomfortable, and I've totally felt that on a bazillion different occasions. Again, I'm using the word bazillion. Different occasions in my business. And in hindsight, when I look back on those times, they're the times that I've actually grown, or they're the times that I've stepped up and gone up to that next level, or I've filled my client list, or I've hit that next income bracket, or whatever it might be. Taking some of those educated risks has been hugely beneficial for where I am today. And I guess the important element for me, or the important part for all of us, is that some of those risks, some of those chances that you take in your business are just not going to pay off. And again, that's not to say that the world's going to end and you're going to fold and you're going to give up your business and have to go back to the boring day job that you once had. It's it's just a learning ground, and that's where you'll take those learnings and be able to reapply them, and it will be a smaller risk the second time around. So you know, being able to take the learnings with you, propel yourself forward and go, okay, that didn't work. Why didn't it work? Because of X, Y, and Z. Okay, next time I'm going to do something slightly different, and this is how it's going to play out this time. And the result will absolutely be different to what it was the first time around. But having those learnings from the first time will help you, you know, phenomenally as you reapply those learnings and reapply those learnings and reapply those learnings. So you will stuff up. So don't take risk in the first place is what your natural kind of mindset tells you, which is not what I'm trying to say. It's about taking educated risks and chances in your business that help you learn and help extend your sense of self and your business momentum forward. Now, the human psyche, or how we're naturally made up, we predict risk. And we predict it in a catastrophic way. And what I mean by that is our inherent natural sense of self leapfrogs to exaggerating the possibility of failure to the nth degree. So it's not only that, you know, you might put a new product out there and no one buys it. No one's going to buy it, and everyone's going to talk about how terrible it is, and your business is never going to succeed, and you're going to have to go and live in Bangladesh because otherwise, like, how embarrassing. Or we exaggerate the consequences of the failure. So it's that exact same situation again, is that I've launched my new website, but I'm not getting any traffic, and everybody's laughing at me, and everybody thinks that I'm a business failure, and I'm going to have to go back to my day job, but they're not going to employ me again because I've had this business failure. I just have to quit, or I'm going to have to, it's going to be disaster. So we're naturally built to protect ourselves and to put ourselves out there in an uncomfortable situation. Kind of goes against the grain, or goes against what we're inherently trained to think, or how we inherently train ourselves to think. So when you're going through that decision-making process of, well, do I or don't I, should I or shouldn't I, will I go down path A or path B, that all those kind of critical forks in the road, you need to be mindful of the fact that your natural psyche will automatically go, don't take the risky path because you might fall off the edge of the earth and then your children will grow up with no mother and it's going to be a disaster. Because we're naturally built to extend and exaggerate and overplay, like catastrophize those situations. So keeping a sense on reality is really important when you're considering taking a chance or doing something new and different. Like, what is actually the worst thing that could possibly happen? And this is where I draw from Sir Richard Branson, because he and I spend so much time together. You know, Necker Island, what I would do to get to Necker Island with Richard Branson. Not much, to be honest, but it'd be fun. His decision-making process goes a little bit like this. So you're at a fork in the road and you're trying to work out, do I do this or do I do that? And, you know, the first question you ask yourself is, well, what's the worst that could happen? So let's say you're trying to decide, do I spend $2,000 on redoing my website? Now, the worst thing that could happen in that situation is that you choose to work with a terrible designer or a terrible web designer, and you end up with a website that's no better than it is today, and you've lost your $2,000. So that's the worst thing that could possibly happen. There's probably worse things that could happen, but let's roll with that. So am I going to redo my website? What's the worst thing that possibly happen is that I choose the wrong person to work with, and it turns out to be a disaster. Now, the second question that Sir Richard Branson asks himself is, can I handle that situation? So it turns to shit, I've employed the wrong person, I've spent my money, can I actually handle that situation? What's going to happen? And look, if it was me in that situation, yeah, I'd be really pissed, I'd chosen the wrong person, my website looks awful, and I've spent my money. But then what? Like, that, if that's the worst case scenario, I'm sitting at home with an average looking website, but I've lost $2,000. Yeah, okay, I've lost $2,000, but am I going to fall off a cliff? Am I suddenly unhealthy? Am I going to die? Are my children going to die? Like, the worst thing that can possibly happen, and can you handle it? In that situation, my answer would be yes, so it's worth taking the risk. Now, I literally apply that decision-making process to everything that I do. And particularly when I'm trying to make those big, you know, life-changing decisions, all of which are anchored in risk and all of which make me really uncomfortable. I was talking before about being wrapped in my safety blanket. That's like ripping off the safety blanket and exposing my little self, my big self, to the big wide world. What's the worst thing that could happen, and can you handle it? So the worst thing that can happen kind of gives your mind the opportunity to run free. The world might end, I'm going to fall off a cliff, everybody's going to laugh at me, it's going to be a disaster. And then the second question is, well, can I handle it? And that's a reality. And that's when you start to go, well, would that actually happen? And what would happen to me? And how would I feel in that situation? And can you handle that situation? So to run out another scenario, it might be, business coaching. I talk to a lot of potential clients about the risk of taking on a business coach. And I totally get that it's scary, being vulnerable with somebody that you haven't met or that you don't know very well, and admitting to them that you need help. It's a stretch to employ somebody, a business coach. I'm going to have to tell you my deep, dark secrets and let the skeletons out of the closet. And, are you qualified enough to actually help me? Generally speaking, the kind of themes that I get when I'm talking to potential clients. And again, I ask my potential clients exactly those questions. What's the worst thing that can happen? And the worst thing that can happen is that we don't get along, I guess. I get along with 99.9% of people, to be honest. But the worst thing that can happen in that situation is, again, that you choose the wrong business coach and you end up working with somebody who doesn't have the right skill set for you, or, is not dedicated to you, or takes you down the wrong path, or gives you the wrong advice, or whatever it might be. And can you handle that situation? So in that situation, if you started working with me and it was a disaster, which it totally wouldn't be, but let's say it was, what would be the worst thing that could happen? It's a disaster, and can you handle it? So you'd have to pick up the phone, or you'd have to send me an email and say, it's not working, I need out, and these are the reasons why, and you and I would work through that. So you could absolutely handle that situation. So that for me is a calculated risk, or an educated assumption, or a guesstimate as to a chance in your business that's definitely worthwhile. Because on the flip side to that, the things that we together could unlock, as if we were working together, the potential that we have is phenomenal. So is it worth it? Absolutely, it's worth it. So again, get uncomfortable, sit in the ambiguity, and sit there thinking, worst thing that could happen, can I handle it? And on the flip side, what are the awesome things that might happen? Employing a business coach, or doing up your website, or whatever it might be. And those risks are absolutely worth taking. And I really, really, really strongly encourage you to get a little bit uncomfortable. I'll say just for the next week, as my call to action for the end of the week. Hello, Hannah. And get uncomfortable and just sit in that ambiguity and have a think about some of the risks that you should be taking in your business. Because risk will really differentiate you in our market. And I think about all my clients and myself, have a think about how many business coaches are out there, which is probably why people find it so hard to choose which one, is because, I'll use the word again, there are literally bazillions of us. And what makes us different, and what makes me different to the rest, is my experience, my story, and the risks that I take in putting myself out there, or the clients that I take on. So risks will differentiate your business. And if you want to sit with your safety blanket wrapped around you, and you want to play it safe, and you want to do the same thing over and over and over again, your business is not going to stand out from the crowd. It is those risks that you take, and the chances that you take, and the wild stabs in the dark where you're like, you know what, I'm just going to give it a crack. They are the things that will differentiate your business, that will give you cut through in the marketplace from your competitors, and that will ultimately have your competitors sitting there going, oh shit, I should have collaborated with that person, or I should have launched that as well, or I should be doing this. And all of a sudden you're on the front foot and they're on the back foot, and boom, the guesstimated or the estimated risk that you took has absolutely paid off, and you're propelling yourself forward. So risk takers have a greater success rate. And yes, they have a greater failure rate as well, but there's so many rich learnings and little nuggets of goodness that you can take from those failures, or those learnings, that you can reapply next time and keep moving forward. So I don't want you to sit and plan a list of the risks that you're going to take this week, but I just want you to have a think about it. And if you're playing it safe and you're playing it small, my question to you is why? Because at the end of the day, you really are holding yourself back. You're not differentiating from your competitors, and you're playing small. And that is not going to differentiate you and push you forward. It's not going to help you unlock growth and build your business. So what could and should you be doing in the next month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever it might be, to really drive your business forward, to propel you forward and upscale all of what you're doing? And all of that will be anchored in how much the level of risk that you're comfortable in taking. And what are those big chances that you're missing out on, or those big opportunities that you're just a bit shit scared to take advantage of? I've got some really exciting stuff coming up in my business that is making me a little bit uncomfortable, actually quite uncomfortable. And I'm going to make some scary phone calls this week. And that, like, I've been kind of semi-dreading this week because I'm absolutely shitting my pants. But again, what's the worst thing that could happen is the people that I want to work with or that I want to collaborate with say no. And can I handle it? Yep. Like, I'm just going to go to the next group of people and the next group of people and the next group of people. So I can absolutely handle that situation. So it's worth taking the risk. And so that's the kind of the conversations that I want you to start having with yourself this week. And remember that Richard Branson decision-making process. What's the worst thing that can happen, and can I handle it? And I guarantee you 90% of the time the answers will be, the worst thing that can happen is X, Y, and Z. Can I handle it? Yep. Job done. Answer found. Go and do it. But if you hit a brick wall and the answer is, no, I absolutely couldn't handle that situation, then again, you know that that's not the right risk or the right chance for you to be taking. And boom, decision made. Like, it really does come down to decision making. So if you are at a fork in the road for whatever reason on whatever topic in your business, and you want a sounding board, by all means, just shoot me a note and we can chat. And like, I actually quite enjoy helping people make decisions, and it's nearly a superpower of mine. But at the end of the day, that's that thought process and that psyche and that little game that we play with ourselves. No, I don't want to let go of my safety blanket. I couldn't possibly do that. It's important for you to start doing that. And it's important for your business that you start doing that so that you can up level and you can get bigger and you can grow ahead of your competition, because that's ultimately what we're all trying to do, right? So Monday morning, boom, tick, up and running. I hope you've got an awesome day planned. I'm here, I say this every week, I'm here a week. It's like I'm some sort of, anyway, I am here a week. So if there's anything I can do to help you this week, just shoot me a note. I've actually got some spare spots in my diary on towards the end of the week. So if you do need a hand, decision making, risk taking, whatever it might be, let me know and we can chat. But I will be back next Monday in school holidays, like it's here already. My topic next week might have to be around school holidays again. I had such a good response last time we talked about school holiday survival hacks. I might just make that call now. Anyway, take some risks, get out of your comfort zone. That's where the magic's going to happen. So get your little magic wands out and start making some magic. Have an awesome day, great week. See you soon. Bye.